I think most people would agree that language develops from the words most people employ to describe things that most people also recognize and understand. I think most people would also agree that meaningful inclusion does not and should not require the validation of every idea or every individual. For that reason, I am going to use he and she to refer to individuals who appear to fit those descriptions. In this instance, the vampire has been identified as the she standing to my left. The voice in my head, as well as the text floating above her, instructs me to use my crossbow and promptly end what I assume is a conversation about Layla Micklethwait and how she promoted a book on Facebook and Instagram despite those platforms reportedly being used for the very things she denounced in that book. I can tell they both know what clout chasing looks like, so I help move things along. I'm a person armed with a crossbow and some kind of vampire scanning device. I am known in the neighborhood as the guy who randomly enters houses looking for vampires. It's local knowledge that I should not be engaged with, because one should never engage with crazy, and this is what crazy definitely looks like. I did engage with crazy yesterday in IKEA. I find the vegetarian meatballs there to be excellent. I am not vegan. I am not vegetarian. I also realized that confronting a socially frustrated Karen is not much of a story. Instead, having identified the person in the doorframe as a vampire, I adjust my belt to avoid being accused of inappropriate exposure as I quickly bend down to reload my crossbow. The people living in this house are obviously students. The picture frames are empty. They eat cake and pizza in one serving, and they keep a fire going while lounging around in t-shirts. They also seem very concerned that Layla Micklethwait is a hypocrite and that nobody called her out when she was promoting her book. I personally don't care all that much. The UK's Online Safety Act is basically Layla Micklethwait on steroids, and it's probably here to remain, unlike the right to remain perhaps, which I understand is a hot potato at the moment. I accidentally dispose of the wrong person and apologize profusely to the rest of the room. I call an ambulance and leave the house, returning about a year later to finish the job. I am relieved to find that things have gone back exactly to the way they were and that no grudges are held against me. I am disappointed, however, to find the vampire still visiting the house and instigating politically charged conversations about months-old topics.
Months-old topics.
Months-old topics.
Months-old topics.
Months-old topics. As if intent on getting to the bottom of them and resolving them, rather than moving to the triggering rhythm of the economy. If it is true that opportunity lies behind every closed door, then it is even more true that every open door is an opportunity. An opportunity to observe a different approach and a different set of tools. An opportunity to reject science, possibly the universe's strangest man-made echo chamber, and possibly the only known tangible dream in existence, if existence. The utopian materialization of man-made concepts, assessed through man-made measurement tools and sculpted by centuries of man-made outcomes. Science. Something that is not crazy at all, even if one thinks about it really hard. Something not at all as questionable as the other something at the opposite side of one very boring conversation.
Very boring, very long, and very boring, very boring, very long, and very boring.
The rice is cooked. In 6 months, the rice will be rotten. Question. In 6 months, will the rice still be cooked? Will the rice still be cooked? Scientifically, yes, it remains cooked matter. Linguistically and functionally, it is just called rotten. I equipped the incorrect gear. Rotten.
Fast forward.
Moving on swiftly,
Fast forward.
nothing important
Fast forward.
to see.
Oh dear. A somewhat unexpected turn.
Thankfully, at that very moment, my brain's immediate need for diplomacy seems to have shifted away from its usual preoccupation with identifying nearby fragrances. I stand still and say nothing, waiting politely for an appropriate window to interrupt what I imagine must be quite the stimulating conversation. As I do so, my desperate need for attention curls into a ball, deep in the deepest corner of a deep and sudden urge to relay a story I think you might deeply enjoy. This is a story about Poseidon's kiss.
I called her Bess.
sudden splash, a humbling jolt, both swift and brash. No poet's pride, no lover's bliss is immune from Poseidon's kiss. Poseidon's kiss.
Poseidon's kiss, you sneaky tide. The story is that I did not know this familiar yet evasive contact phenomenon even had a name until Kara told me about it a couple of years ago, and I was genuinely floored, and I still love that piece of knowledge far more than a grown adult probably should. I have also been standing here longer than I never wanted to in the first place. The girl with the blue hair is getting impatient, and the vampire only appears interested in pointing out that jesters are not technically comedians, in the sense that jesters would never dream to mock their king. I am not certain, but this seems intended as a dig at Jimmy Kimmel for never making jokes about Joe Biden. I sometimes feel a certain way about people who only feel a certain way, and not any other way. So this understandably frustrates me greatly. I throw my one garlic bulb at the vampire and miss, and accidentally dispose of the wrong person again and apologize profusely to the rest of the room. I call an ambulance and leave the house, returning about a year later to finish the job. I am disappointed to find the vampire still complaining about the general state of comedy, arguing that the only thing edgy about Bill Burr is the back of his head. I fail to immediately know what to make of that information. From where I stand, I think he should be allowed to enjoy his success and confine his public criticism to subjects already being targeted by both his audience and his like-minded celebrity friends. It's also undeniable that I don't care one way or the other. I have come here to chew bubblegum and throw a bulb of garlic at a vampire's face while he sits on the toilet. And I never bought bubblegum in the first place. The following day, I find that nefarious forces of unspeakable evil have blocked the entrance to the room I wish to investigate. That same day, the very same nefarious forces of unspeakable evil learned that I can not only lift boxes but also wish them into the wall. It seems reasonable to imagine that this is not the only thing nefarious forces of unspeakable evil will learn today. It also seems reasonable to assume that only a vampire would be arrogant enough to face away from the very man hunting their kind.
What did you say? What does that mean?
Seriously, come on.
That can't be right.
They're people.
Oh, that's what he means. That's what I thought he meant. But I
He went get out of it. Get out of it.
It also seems reasonable to assume that only a vampire would be arrogant enough to face away from the very man inclusively hunting individuals who either are or identify as vampires, yet disposes only of those who actually are vampires. Reasonable. Suddenly, the game throws an unexpected curveball in my direction. Dr. Cool himself, possibly my nemesis,
I wasn't told.
seems genuinely perplexed at how my garlic bulb could have made contact with him, especially since I am standing at a considerable distance and, much like vampires, lack the ability to teleport or travel through time. I have no profound desire to find Dr. Cool. He and his acolytes' shared disdain for universally acceptable manners is the only reason for my being here. More to the point, doesn't the very act of hiding undermine the wish to belong, or even to remain, wherever or in the presence of whomever the hiding occurs? Well, that settles that then. As for me, I'm going to slide under this bed before the students return, and only let them know in the middle of the night that something, or someone, might or might not be occupying the space beneath. I sleep much better when others don't, and I would much prefer to wake up with a fresh pair of eyes in the morning.
Fresh pair of eyes in the morning, looking at the back of your head, Bill Burr.
Poseidon's kiss. Your back door just got the VIP kiss.
I slept under your bed last night. I ain't going back to the thing that's right.
Fresh pair of eyes in the morning, looking at the back of your head, Bill Burr.